The golden wheat swayed in the afternoon sun, stretching endlessly across the small countryside. That was the world of Ellie Mae Carter, an 8-year-old farm girl with big curious eyes and a smile that never faded. Her family owned little, a weathered farmhouse, a rusty tractor, and the pride of working land with their bare hands. But Ellie's joy didn't come from wealth. It came from kindness. She was the kind of child who would patch a bird's broken wing with fabric scraps or share her only cookie with a stranger passing by. Her innocence was like sunlight, pure, warm, and undeniable. Yet not everyone saw her light that way. The children at the local school saw Ellie's patched-up clothes, her mud-caked boots, and the smell of barn hay that clung to her. To them, she was nothing more than the farm girl. And children, when cruel, can wound deeper than any blade. One Friday afternoon, as Ellie carried her lunch pail across the playground, a group of older kids blocked her path. Tyler Briggs, the ringleader, sneered. "Hey, farm rat, did you bring us some pig slop today?" The others laughed. Ellie lowered her head, clutching her pail tighter. She whispered, "Please, I just want to go home." But cruelty doesn't listen. Tyler shoved her hard. Ellie stumbled back, her small body crashing against the edge of the metal slide. Her head struck the corner with a sickening thud. Silence fell. Ellie crumpled to the ground, her lunch spilling out. Half a sandwich, an apple, and a cookie she had baked herself. Blood trickled down her forehead, staining the dirt. For a moment, even the bullies froze, horror dawning on their faces. Then fear overtook them and they ran. Ellie lay motionless, her breath shallow, the playground spinning above her. She whispered one word through trembling lips. "Mom!" That word would change everything. Because her mother, Grace Carter, was no ordinary farm woman. When word spread that Ellie Mae Carter had been taken to the small-town hospital, whispers filled every corner. The children who had run from the scene were pale, trembling, their parents demanding answers. And then Grace Carter arrived. She burst through the hospital doors, her boots thudding heavy against the tiles. Her face was carved with lines of struggle, her eyes a storm of fire and grief. She was not dressed like wealth or power, just a flannel shirt and worn jeans. But the entire room fell silent when she stepped in. Grace reached Ellie's bedside, brushing her daughter's hair back gently. Ellie stirred, whispering, "Mama." "They pushed me." Grace's chest heaved. She kissed her daughter's forehead softly, but her gaze hardened as she turned toward the school officials and parents who had gathered. What the town never knew, what no one spoke of, was that Grace Carter had once been a decorated military officer. She had served overseas as a combat medic and later became an advocate for abused children after witnessing war's toll on the innocent. She had left it all behind, retreating to a quiet farm to raise her daughter in peace. But peace had been broken. Grace stood before the parents of the bullies, her voice calm but sharp as a blade. "Your children didn't just hurt my daughter. They nearly took her life. Do you know what it's like to hold dying children in your arms?" "I do. And I will not, ever, stand by and watch cruelty win." The parents shifted uncomfortably. Tyler's mother tried to protest. "They're just kids." Grace cut her off. "Kids learn from what they see. And if they've learned to mock the poor, to harm the vulnerable, then it is on you to teach them better." Her words struck like thunder. No one dared reply. But Grace didn't stop there. Instead of pressing charges or fueling hate, she made a decision that stunned everyone. She called a meeting at the school and demanded the bullies join her on her farm every weekend, for work. And so, the following Saturday, Tyler and the others arrived, their eyes rolling, their clothes clean and untouched by labor. Grace handed them gloves and pointed to the fields. At first, they grumbled. They tried to slack off. But as the hours wore on, blistering their soft hands, sweat dripping into their eyes, something began to shift. Grace didn't scold them, she taught them. She spoke of hard work, respect, and survival. She showed them how Ellie's small hands worked daily to feed animals, to plant seeds, to survive with dignity. Slowly, the bullies' sneers faded. Shame crept in. For the first time, they saw Ellie not as a target, but as strength. Weeks later, when Ellie returned to school with a healing scar on her forehead, it wasn't whispers of mockery that followed her. It was silence, and then respect. Tyler himself carried her books to class. Years down the line, those same children would tell the story of how they once mocked a farm girl, only to have her mother, warrior, healer, teacher, rebuild them into something better. And Ellie? She grew up knowing pain, yes, but also knowing this: her mother had turned cruelty into compassion, and weakness into wisdom. Because Grace Carter didn't just raise a daughter. She raised a generation.